The world has gone quiet. Shadows stretch across the walls. Let your thoughts grow soft. A story waits in the stillness. If it brings you peace, like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss a night. Now let the story find you. You ride into River's End at dusk, the sky a bruised purple over the jagged peaks. The town sits low, cradled by a lazy river that curls like a snake through the valley. Dust clings to your boots, kicked up from the long trail, and your horse snorts, weary from the day's ride. The air feels heavy, not just with the heat of a fading summer, but with something else. Something that makes the hairs on your neck prickle. You shake it off, chalking it up to the ache in your bones and the miles behind you. The main street is quiet, too quiet for a place this size. Wooden storefronts line the road, their signs creaking in the faint breeze. The saloon's windows glow faintly, casting golden light onto the dirt. You tie your horse to a post outside, giving her a pat on the neck. She nickers softly, as if she senses something you don't. You push through the saloon's swinging doors, and the smell of whiskey and stale tobacco greets you. Inside, the place is half empty. A few men sit at tables, their heads bowed over cards or drinks. The bartender, a wiry man with a drooping mustache, glances up as you approach. His eyes linger a moment too long, like he's sizing you up. You order a whiskey, and he slides it across the counter without a word. The glass is cool in your hand, the amber liquid catching the lamplight. You take a sip, letting it burn down your throat, grounding you. You find a seat in the corner where you can watch the room. That's when you notice her. She's sitting alone at a table near the back, her dark hair spilling over her shoulders like ink. Her dress is simple, faded blue, but there's something about her that draws your eye. Maybe it's the way she holds herself, still as a statue, or the way her fingers trace the rim of her glass without drinking. She looks up and her eyes meet yours. They're green, sharp as cut glass, and for a moment you can't look away. She smiles just a flicker, and you feel a pull, like a hook in your chest. You tell yourself it's just the whiskey talking, but you're not so sure. You've seen plenty of pretty faces on the trail, but this one feels different. Like she knows something you don't. You're about to stand, maybe walk over and say something, when a man bursts through the doors. He's tall, broad-shouldered, with a face weathered by sun and wind. His coat is dusted with trail dirt, and his eyes are wild, like he's seen something he can't unsee. The room goes still, every head turning toward him. He stumbles to the bar, slamming his hands on the counter. "It's out there again," he says, his voice low and rough. "By the river. I saw it." The bartender raises an eyebrow, but doesn't speak. The other men exchange glances, some uneasy, others dismissive. You lean back in your chair, listening. The man keeps talking, words tumbling out like he can't stop them. "It was her," he says. "The woman in white. She was standing in the water, just staring. I swear her eyes followed me." A few men chuckle, but it's forced. The air in the saloon shifts, grows thicker. You glance at the woman in the faded blue dress, expecting her to react, but she's still watching you, her expression unreadable. You feel a chill, though the room is warm. The man at the bar downs a shot of whiskey, his hands shaking. "You don't believe me," he mutters. "But I ain't the first to see her. Ask old Caleb." he'll tell you. The name Caleb stirs a murmur among the men, but no one elaborates. The bartender pours another drink, and the man takes it, quieter now, like the fight's gone out of him. You finish your whiskey, the glass empty in your hand. The woman in the corner stands, her movements slow, deliberate. She doesn't look at you again, but as she passes your table, her skirt brushes your leg, and you catch a faint scent, like wildflowers after rain. She's gone before you can say anything, slipping out the back door into the night. You consider following her, but something holds you back. Maybe it's the man's story, or the way the saloon feels alive with whispers now. You decide to stay, to listen. The night is young, and River's End has secrets. You can feel them curling around you like the river itself. You settle back in your chair, the weight of the town pressing against you, and you wonder what you've ridden into. You wake to the sound of creaking wood, your eyes snapping open in the dim room. The boarding house where you took a bed for the night smells of dust and old timber. Moonlight spills through the thin curtains, painting silver streaks across the floor. You sit up, your heart thudding, though you're not sure why. The air feels thick, like it's holding its breath. You swing your legs over the side of the bed, your boots hitting the floor with a soft thud. You didn't dream, or if you did, it's gone now. But the woman from the saloon lingers in your mind, her green eyes sharp as a blade. You shake the thought away and pull on your coat. Sleep won't come again tonight, not with the unease curling in your chest. You step to the window, pushing the curtain aside. The street below is empty, the town swallowed by shadows. The river glints in the distance, its surface like liquid glass under the moon. You decide to walk, to clear your head. The boarding house is silent as you creep down the stairs, the owner long asleep. Outside, the night is cool, the air sharp with the scent of pine and damp earth. Your boots crunch on the dirt road, the only sound in the stillness. You head toward the river, without knowing why, drawn by some quiet pull you can't name. The town fades behind you as you reach the riverbank. Willows lean over the water, their branches trailing like fingers. You stop, your breath catching. The river moves slow, its current a soft murmur, but there's something else. A feeling like you're not alone. You scan the bank, the trees, the water, but nothing stirs. Still, your hand drifts to the revolver at your hip, a habit from years on the trail. That's when you see the footprints. They're faint, pressed into the soft mud near the water's edge. Small, like a woman's, leading from the bank into the shallows. You crouch, your fingers brushing the earth. The prints are fresh, the edges still sharp. Your pulse quickens. No one should be out here, not at this hour. You follow the tracks with your eyes, but they vanish where the water deepens. You stand, your gaze fixed on the river. The moonlight shifts, and for a moment you think you see something, a shape in the water, pale and fleeting. You blink, and it's gone. Just a trick of the light, you tell yourself, but your skin prickles. You turn to head back, but a voice stops you. You shouldn't be here. It's soft, almost a whisper, but it cuts through the night like a bell. You spin, your hand on your gun, but no one's there. The willows sway, their leaves rustling, and you strain to hear it again. Nothing. Just the river, endless and quiet. You wait, your breath shallow, but the voice doesn't return. You start back toward town, your steps faster now. The unease from the saloon has followed you, grown heavier. You think of the man's story, the woman in white, her eyes following him. You don't believe in ghosts, not really, but out here, with the river whispering and the night pressing close, it's hard to be sure. When you reach the main street, a flicker of movement catches your eye. A figure stands near the saloon, half hidden in the shadows. You pause, your hand still near your gun. It's her, the woman from last night, her blue dress catching the moonlight. She's watching you, her face pale, her eyes unreadable. You take a step toward her, but she turns, slipping around the corner of the building. You follow, your boots quiet on the dirt. When you round the corner, she's gone, the alley empty. You curse under your breath, your heart still racing. You're not sure if you're chasing her or running from something else. You head back to the boarding house, the night closing around you. In your room, you lock the door, though you know it won't help. You sit on the edge of the bed, your mind turning. The footprints, the voice, the woman. They're pieces of something, but you don't know what. You think of the name the man mentioned, Caleb. Whoever he is, he knows something about this town, about the river. You decide to find him tomorrow, to ask what he's seen. You lie back, staring at the ceiling. Sleep feels far away, like a place you can't reach. The river's murmur echoes in your mind, and you wonder if it's calling you or warning you. You close your eyes, but the woman's face waits behind your lids, her smile sharp and knowing. The night stretches on, and River's End holds its secrets close. You rise with the sun, its light creeping through the boarding house window, chasing away the shadows of last night. Your eyes are heavy, sleep having come in fits and starts, haunted by the river and that fleeting figure in blue. You splash cold water on your face from the basin, the chill grounding you. The town feels different in daylight, less like a dream, but the weight of River's End still clings to you. You strap on your gun belt, pull your hat low, and head out to find Caleb. The main street hums with morning life. A wagon rumbles past, loaded with barrels, and a woman sweeps the porch of the general store. You ask her about Caleb, and her face tightens. "Old Caleb's out by the edge of town," she says, pointing west. "Lives in that shack near the old mill. But he don't take kindly to strangers." You thank her and move on, her warning settling in your chest. The walk takes you past the last of the buildings, where the road turns to dust and grass. The river runs alongside, its water catching the sun like a mirror. You keep your eyes ahead, but the memory of those footprints in the mud pulls at you. The old mill comes into view, its wheel still unbroken, half sunk in the bank. Nearby, a weathered shack leans against a cottonwood tree, its roof sagging. Smoke curls from the chimney, thin and gray. You knock on the door, the wood rough under your knuckles. No answer. You call out, "Caleb? I just want to talk." Silence, then a shuffle inside. The door creaks open, and a man peers out. He's old, his face carved with wrinkles, his eyes pale blue and watery. A gray beard clings to his jaw, and his hands tremble as he grips the doorframe. "What you want?" He rasps, his voice like dry leaves. You tell him you heard about the woman by the river, the one folks say haunts the water. You don't mention the voice or the figure in blue, not yet. Caleb's eyes narrow, and he steps back, leaving the door open. You take it as an invitation and follow him inside. The shack is dim, cluttered with old tools and bottles. A fire smolders in the hearth, giving off more smoke than heat. Caleb sits in a creaking chair, gesturing for you to take the other. "You seen her, ain't you?" He says, not a question. You hesitate, then nod, keeping your story vague. He leans forward, his voice dropping low. "She's been here longer than this town. Longer than me. Folks call her the spirit of the river's end, but she had a name once. Eliza?" The name settles over you like dust. Caleb's eyes drift to the fire, and he tells you her story. Eliza was a young woman, come to River's End with her husband years ago when the town was new. They built a life by the river, but her husband was a jealous man, quick to anger. One night he accused her of betraying him, and in his rage she vanished. Some say she drowned, others say she ran. But her spirit never left. She lingers where the river bends, Caleb says, where the water slows, always watching. Some say she's waiting for someone to find her truth. His voice cracks, and you wonder how much he's seen, how many nights he spent listening to the river. You ask if he believes she's a ghost, and he just stares at you, his eyes heavy with years. Ghost or not, she's real enough to those who see her. You press him for more, but he clams up, saying he's told you plenty. You thank him and step outside, the sun high now warming your skin. The river glints nearby, and you feel its pull again, stronger now. You walk to the bank, your boots sinking into the earth. No footprints today, just a steady flow of water. You think of Eliza, her name echoing in your mind, and you wonder if she's the woman in blue. As you turn back toward town, you spot someone watching from the mill's shadow. It's the man from the saloon, the one who burst in talking about the woman in white. He's leaning against the broken wheel, his hat tipped low. When he sees you looking, he straightens and walks off, quick, like he doesn't want to be seen. You consider following, but the town's waiting, and you've got enough questions already. You head back, the dust of the trail sticking to you. The story Caleb told feels like a stone in your pocket, heavy and real. You think of the woman in the saloon, her green eyes, her smile. Was it Eliza? Or just a stranger caught in the same strange web as you? You don't know, but you're sure of one thing. River's End isn't done with you yet. The river keeps flowing, and you feel it pulling you deeper towards something you can't yet see. You walk back into River's End, the sun climbing higher, casting sharp shadows across the dirt street. The town feels alive now, with folks moving about, their voices a low hum against the creak of wagon wheels. You're still turning Caleb's words over in your mind, Eliza's story looping like the river itself. Her name feels heavy, like a key you don't yet know how to use. You decide to head to the saloon again, hoping to catch sight of the woman in blue, or maybe the man who spoke of the woman in white. Something tells you they're tied to this, though you can't say how. The saloon is busier today, filled with the clink of glasses and the murmur of conversation. You step inside, the familiar smell of whiskey and wood smoke wrapping around you. You scan the room, but the woman isn't here. Neither is the man from last night. You settle at the bar, ordering a coffee this time, the bitter warmth steadying your nerves. The bartender, still with that drooping mustache, serves you without a word, but you catch him glancing at you, like he's waiting for you to ask something. You lean in, keeping your voice low. You know anything about Eliza? You say, testing the waters. His hands pause on the rag he's wiping the counter with, and his eyes flick up to meet yours. "Folks talk," he says, his voice gruff. "Don't mean it's true. Best leave old stories alone." He turns away, busying himself with a stack of glasses, but you catch the tightness in his jaw. He knows more than he's letting on. You sip your coffee, letting the moment pass. The saloon doors swing open, and a woman steps in, not the one in blue, but someone new. She's older, her hair streaked with gray, her dress patched but clean. She carries herself with a quiet strength, her eyes scanning the room before landing on you. She walks over, stopping a few feet away. "You're the one asking about Eliza," she says, not a question. You nod, unsure how she knows. She introduces herself as Martha, a seamstress who's lived in River's End her whole life. "Heard you were out at Caleb's," she says, her voice steady but soft. "He tell you about her?" You nod again, and she gestures to a table in the corner. You follow, curious, the coffee still warm in your hand. Martha sits across from you, her hands folded on the table. "Eliza was my friend," she says, her eyes distant. "She was kind, too kind for this place. Loved the river. Used to sit by it for hours, singing to herself. But her husband, Thomas, he wasn't right. Jealous, mean. Folks say he drove her away, or worse. After she was gone, he left town. No one's seen him since. You ask if she thinks Eliza's still out there, maybe as the spirit folks talk about." Martha's lips press thin. "I don't know about spirits," she says, "but something's not right by that river. I've felt it, like the air's holding its breath." Her words echo the feeling you had last night, and you lean forward, asking if she's seen the woman in white. She shakes her head. "Not white, but I've seen someone, a woman, near the bend. Always at dusk. Never close enough to be sure." You think of the woman in blue, her sharp green eyes. You describe her to Martha, and her face softens. "Sounds like someone passing through, maybe," she says, but there's doubt in her voice. She stands, smoothing her dress. "Be careful, stranger. The river keeps its secrets, and it don't always give 'em up easy." She leaves you there, her words lingering like smoke. You finish your coffee, the saloon's noise fading into the background. You step outside, the sun warm on your face, but your thoughts are on the river. You decide to head back to the bend to see if you can find anything Martha mentioned. The walk feels shorter this time, the river's pull stronger. When you reach the bank, the water is calm, reflecting the sky in shades of gold and blue. You search the ground for footprints, but the mud is smooth, untouched. You stand there, listening to the river's soft murmur, when you hear it again, that voice from last night. "You're looking for me." It's faint, carried on the breeze, and you turn, your heart pounding. No one's there, just the willows swaying, their branches dipping into the water. You take a step closer to the river, your boots sinking into the soft earth. The air feels cooler here, heavier, like it's pressing against you. You don't see her, but you feel her, a presence just out of reach. You call out, your voice steady despite the chill in your bones. "Eliza?" The name hangs in the air, unanswered. You wait, but nothing comes. The sun dips lower, painting the river red. You turn back toward town, your shadow stretching long behind you. Martha's warning, Caleb's story, the voice, they're all pieces of something bigger, and you're caught in the middle. You feel the river watching you as you walk away, its secrets flowing just beneath the surface, waiting for you to come closer. You sit on the porch of the boarding house as the sun sinks low, the sky streaked with crimson and gold. The air carries the scent of dust and river water, and you feel the town settling into evening, its rhythm slow and deliberate. Your thoughts are tangled, caught between Martha's words and that faint voice by the river. Eliza's name feels heavier now, like a stone you're carrying without knowing why. You decide to find the man from the saloon, the one who spoke of the woman in white. His fear was real, and you need to know what he saw. You head back to the saloon, the streets quieter now, the last of the day's heat fading. The doors swing open under your hand, and the familiar hum of voices greets you. The place is lively tonight, filled with laughter and the clatter of poker chips. You scan the crowd, searching for the man's weathered face, his wild eyes. He's not here. You approach the bartender, who's polishing glasses with that same steady rhythm. "The fella from last night," you say, "the one talking about the river. Where can I find him?" The bartender's hands slow, his mustache twitching. "That'd be Jack," he says. "Lives out past the livery stable, small place with a red door. But he ain't been himself lately. Keeps to himself, mostly." You nod, thanking him, and head out into the dusk. The livery stable isn't far, and you find the house easily, its red door chipped but unmistakable. You knock, the sound sharp in the quiet. No answer at first, but you hear movement inside, a chair scraping against wood. The door opens a crack, and Jack peers out, his face pale, eyes darting. "What do you want?" he asks, his voice rough. You tell him you heard what he said about the river, about the woman in white, and you just want to talk. He hesitates, then steps back, letting you in. The house is small, cluttered with old newspapers and empty bottles. A single lamp flickers on the table, casting long shadows. Jack sits, his hands restless, picking at a loose thread on his sleeve. "I ain't crazy," he says before you can speak. "I know what I saw." You nod, keeping your voice calm, and ask him to tell you. He leans forward, his breath uneven. "It was 2 nights ago, down by the bend. I was coming back from fishing, late. The moon was bright, and I saw her standing in the water. All in white, her hair long and dark, like it was floating. She didn't move, just stared at me. I felt cold, like she was pulling the air out of me." He shudders, his eyes distant. "I ran. Didn't look back." You ask if he's sure it was a woman, not just the light playing tricks. He glares at you, his voice sharp. "I know what I saw. It wasn't no trick, and it wasn't the first time. I've seen her before, same place, same look." You think of the woman in blue, her green eyes, and ask if it could have been someone real, someone from town. Jack shakes his head. "No one in River's End looks like that. She ain't human." His words hang in the air, and you feel that familiar chill again. You ask if he knows about Eliza, and his face tightens. "Heard the stories," he says. "Caleb talks about her, says she's the spirit. I don't know if it's her, but something's out there." He stands, pacing, his boots scuffing the floor. "You don't believe me? Go see for yourself. But don't say I didn't warn you." You leave Jack's house, the night fully settled now, stars pricking the sky. His story sits heavy, but it's the fear in his eyes that sticks with you. You decide to head to the river again, to the bend where he saw her. The town falls away as you walk, the river's soft murmur growing louder. The willows are dark silhouettes, their branches swaying in the breeze. You stop at the water's edge, the mud cool under your boots. The river reflects the stars, its surface unbroken. You stand there, waiting, your breath slow. You don't call out this time, just listen. The night is quiet, but you feel it again, that sense of being watched. You turn, scanning the trees, the bank, but nothing moves. Then a ripple catches your eye, faint, like something brushed the water. You step closer, your heart steady but alert. There, in the shallows, you see her. Not in white, but in blue, her dress catching the moonlight. It's the woman from the saloon, standing ankle-deep in the river, her hair loose, her eyes fixed on you. She doesn't speak, just watches, her face calm but unreadable. You open your mouth to call to her, but she raises a hand, a small gesture, like she's telling you to stay. Then she turns, walking into the deeper water, and before you can move, she's gone, the river smooth again. You stand there, your pulse loud in your ears. Was it her? Eliza? Or someone playing a trick? The night gives no answers, and you head back to town, the river's pull stronger than ever. Jack's fear, Martha's warning, Caleb's story, they're all threads, weaving something you can't yet see. You feel the weight of River's End, its secrets flowing around you, pulling you deeper into its current. You lie awake in your room at the boarding house, the night pressing against the walls. The image of the woman in blue standing in the river burns behind your eyes. Her silent gesture, that raised hand, felt like a warning, or maybe an invitation. You can't decide which. The river's murmur seems to echo through the floorboards, though you know it's too far to hear. Sleep feels like a stranger, so you pull on your boots and hat, the need to move stronger than the hour's call for rest. The town is silent as you step outside, the stars sharp overhead. You don't plan to go far, just enough to shake the restlessness. Your feet carry you toward the saloon, its windows dark now, the revelry long faded. You pause at the alley where you last saw her, the woman in blue, but it's empty, the shadows still. You keep walking, letting the cool air clear your head, until you find yourself at the edge of town, where the river bends. You stop, the water glinting under the moonlight. You don't expect to see her again, not so soon, but you scan the bank anyway. The willows sway, their branches whispering secrets to the night. You think of Jack's story, his fear, and Martha's quiet certainty. Eliza's name feels like a pulse now, steady and insistent. You crouch by the water, your fingers brushing the mud, searching for footprints. Nothing. The river keeps its secrets clean. A twig snaps behind you, and you turn, your hand drifting to your revolver. A figure steps from the trees, not the woman, but a man. It's the bartender, his mustache unmistakable, even in the dim light. He raises his hands, palms out. "Didn't mean to startle you," he says, his voice low. "Saw you head out. Thought you might be looking for trouble." You relax your grip on the gun, asking what he's doing out here. He shrugs, his eyes on the river. "Name's Henry," he says. "I keep an eye on things. Town's got a way of pulling folks to the water at night." You ask if he means Eliza, and his face tightens, just like it did in the saloon. "You're digging deep," he says. "Most folks leave that story alone." You press him, saying you've heard enough to know something's real. Henry sighs, rubbing the back of his neck. "I knew Eliza," he says finally. "Not well, but enough." She was gentle, always humming by the river. After she disappeared, folks started seeing things. Shadows in the water, voices. I don't believe in ghosts, but I've seen enough to wonder. You ask if he's seen the woman in white, like Jack, or the woman in blue. He shakes his head. Not white, not blue. Just something. A shape, maybe, at dusk. Always gone when I get close. He looks at you, his eyes steady. You saw her, didn't you? The one in blue. You nod, describing the moment in the river, her silent gesture. Henry's face doesn't change, but his voice drops. Be careful. The river's got a way of keeping folks who ask too many questions. He turns to leave, but you stop him, asking if he knows where the woman in blue stays. He hesitates, then points toward a narrow path leading into the trees. There's a cabin half a mile upriver. Old place, been empty for years. Folks say they've seen light there sometimes, at night. Might be nothing. Might be her. He walks off, his boots crunching on the dirt, leaving you alone with the river. You stare at the path he pointed to, a dark ribbon winding through the willows. You know you shouldn't go, not now, not alone, but the pull is stronger than reason. You follow the path, the trees closing around you, their branches brushing your shoulders. The air grows cooler, the river's murmur louder, like it's guiding you. The cabin comes into view, a small, weathered structure nestled among the trees. Its windows are dark, the door slightly ajar. You pause, your hand on your gun, listening. No sound but the river and the rustle of leaves. You step closer, your boots quiet on the soft earth. The door creaks as you push it open, revealing a single room, bare except for a table and a chair. A faint scent lingers like wildflowers, the same as the night in the saloon. You step inside, your eyes adjusting to the dark. Something glints on the table, a small silver locket, its chain coiled like a snake. You pick it up, the metal cool in your hand. Inside is a faded photograph, a woman with dark hair and sharp eyes. Your breath catches. It's her, the woman in blue. Or is it Eliza? The locket feels heavy, like it's carrying more than just a picture. You slip it into your pocket, your heart steady but quick. You leave the cabin, the night thicker now, the stars dimmer. The river's pull feels stronger, like it's calling you back. You head toward town, the locket a weight against your chest. Henry's warning echoing in your mind. You don't know what you've found, but you know it's a piece of something bigger. Something the river's been hiding all along. You walk back to River's End under a sky heavy with stars, the locket in your pocket a quiet weight. The river's murmur follows you, a constant whisper that feels alive, like it's trying to speak. The cabin, the photograph, the scent of wildflowers, they swirl in your mind, each a piece of a puzzle you can't yet solve. You think of the woman in blue, her silent gesture in the river, and wonder if she left the locket for you to find. The thought sends a shiver through you, though the night is warm. The town is asleep when you reach the boarding house, its windows dark, the street empty. You climb the stairs to your room, the floorboards creaking under your boots. You sit on the edge of the bed, pulling the locket from your pocket. The silver catches the faint moonlight, and you open it again, studying the photograph. The woman's face is clear, her eyes sharp even in the faded image. You're sure it's her, the woman from the saloon, but the resemblance to Eliza's story gnaws at you. You set the locket on the bedside table, and lie back, your thoughts restless. Sleep feels far off, but you close your eyes, letting the river's echo lull you. When you wake, the room is gray with early dawn, the locket still glinting beside you. You decide to head to the general store, hoping to find someone who might know about the locket or the woman in the photograph. The store is already open, the bell above the door jingling as you step inside. The woman from yesterday, the one who pointed you to Caleb, is behind the counter sorting jars of preserves. Her name, you recall, is Sarah. She looks up, her expression cautious but not unkind. "Back again?" she says, brushing her hands on her apron. You nod, pulling the locket from your pocket and holding it out. "Found this. Thought you might know who it belongs to." Sarah takes the locket, her fingers careful, like she's handling something fragile. She opens it, her brow furrowing as she studies the photograph. "Where'd you get this?" she asks, her voice low. You tell her about the cabin, leaving out the river, and the woman in blue. She hands the locket back, her eyes flickering with something like unease. "That's Eliza's," she says. "I'd know it anywhere. She wore it always, a gift from her mother before she came to River's End." Your pulse quickens. You ask if she's sure, and Sarah nods, her gaze distant. After she vanished, folks said Thomas took it with him when he left. "Never thought I'd see it again." She pauses, looking at you. "You're stirring things up, stranger. Be careful what you wake." You thank her, slipping the locket back into your pocket, and step outside, the morning air cool against your skin. You head toward the saloon, needing a place to think. The streets are waking now, with folks moving about, their voices soft in the early light. You pass the livery stable, and a figure catches your eye, Jack, leaning against a fence, watching you. He doesn't approach, but his stare follows you, heavy with something you can't read. You keep walking, the locket's weight grounding you. The saloon is quiet, just a few early patrons nursing coffee or whiskey. You take a seat at the bar, ordering coffee again, and let your thoughts settle. The locket ties the woman in blue to Eliza, but how? Is she a ghost, a memory, or something else entirely? You're lost in thought when a hand touches your shoulder, light but firm. You turn, and it's Martha, the seamstress, her gray-streaked hair pulled back, her eyes sharp. "Sarah told me about the locket," she says, sitting beside you. "You're getting too close to the river's secrets." You ask what she means, and she leans in, her voice barely above a whisper. Eliza's story didn't end with her disappearing. There's more, things folks don't talk about. Thomas, her husband, he wasn't just jealous. He was cruel, and some say he didn't just drive her away. They say he made sure she'd never come back. You feel a chill, though the saloon is warm. You ask if she thinks Thomas killed her, and Martha's lips press thin. "No proof," she says, "but the river knows, and it don't let go of its dead easy." She stands, smoothing her dress. If you're set on finding answers, check the old church records. The preacher back then, he kept notes on everyone. Might be something there. She leaves you with that, her footsteps fading into the saloon's hum. You finish your coffee, the locket heavy in your pocket. The church sits at the far end of town, its steeple weathered but standing tall. You decide to go there next to see if the records hold any clues. As you step outside, the river's pull feels stronger, like it's watching, waiting. You glance toward the water, half expecting to see her, the woman in blue, but the street is empty. You head toward the church, the Locket a quiet promise, drawing you deeper into the river's endless flow. You walk toward the church, the Locket a steady weight in your pocket, its silver warmed by your hand. The morning sun climbs higher, casting long shadows across River's End, and the town hums with quiet life, folks going about their day. But you feel the river's pull, its murmur a thread woven through every step. Martha's words about Thomas, about the church records, sit heavy in your mind. You're chasing something now, not just a story, but a truth the town has buried deep. The church stands at the edge of town, its whitewashed walls faded, the steeple leaning slightly like it's tired from years of watching over River's End. The door is unlocked, creaking as you push it open. Inside, the air is cool, smelling of old wood and candle wax. Pews line the room, their surfaces worn smooth by time. A small table holds a guest book, its pages yellowed. You're alone, the silence thick, but it feels like the walls are listening. You call out softly, hoping to find the preacher. Footsteps echo from a side room, and a man appears older than Caleb, his hair white as snow, his eyes kind but weary. He introduces himself as Pastor William, his voice soft, like he's used to speaking to the grieving. You explain you're looking for old records, something about Eliza and Thomas, and his face shifts, a flicker of recognition passing through his eyes. Those are old wounds, he says, leading you to a small office behind the altar. But if you're set on digging, I won't stop you. He pulls a dusty ledger from a shelf, its cover cracked with age. This was kept by Pastor John, my predecessor. He wrote about everyone, births, deaths, marriages. Eliza's in here, somewhere. He leaves you with the book, retreating to give you space, though you feel his gaze linger. You open the ledger, the pages brittle under your fingers. The ink is faded, but the entries are clear, a record of River's End in its early days. You find Eliza's name quickly, her marriage to Thomas noted in neat script. The date is decades old, the words simple. Eliza Marie Warren wed Thomas James Holt, June 12th. No mention of love, just fact. You keep reading, searching for more. Further down, another entry catches your eye. Eliza Holt, missing, presumed deceased. The date is a year after the marriage, and the note is brief, almost cold. Husband claims she left in the night. No body found. You pause, your finger tracing the words. Presumed deceased, but no proof. You flip through more pages, finding Thomas's name again. Thomas Holt, departed town, destination unknown. Nothing else. The ledger feels heavy, like it's holding more than words. You close the book, your thoughts racing. The locket Eliza's found in a cabin, no one claims. Thomas's cruelty, whispered by Martha, now hinted at in these sparse notes. You wonder if the woman in blue is tied to this, her presence a bridge between past and present. You slip the locket from your pocket, opening it to steady the photograph again. Her eyes seem sharper now, like they're watching you back. Pastor William returns, his steps soft. You ask if he knew Eliza, and he shakes his head. Before my time, he says, but Pastor John spoke of her, said she was a light in this town, till she wasn't. He believed Thomas had a hand in her leaving, but no one could prove it. The river took her story like it takes so much else. You thank him, tucking the locket away, and step outside. The sun is high now, the air warm, but you feel a chill. You decide to head to the river again, to the bend where you saw her. The walk feels familiar, your boots knowing the path. The willows greet you, their branches trailing in the water, and the river sparkles, its surface calm but alive. You stand at the bank, the ledger's words echoing in your mind. You don't call out, just watch the water, waiting. The air feels heavy, like it's holding its breath. Then you see it, a flicker in the shallows, not her, but something glinting. You wade in, the water cold against your boots, and bend to pick it up. It's a ring, simple silver, half buried in the mud. Your heart quickens. Was it Eliza's? Or someone else's, lost to the river's keep? You hold the ring, its surface worn but unbroken. The woman in blue's face flashes in your mind, her gesture in the water, her silence. You slip the ring into your pocket with the locket, the two pieces heavy together. You glance at the river, half expecting her to appear, but the water stays still. As you turn to leave, you hear footsteps behind you. You spin, hand on your gun, but it's only Henry, the bartender, his face grim. "You don't quit, do you?" he says, stopping a few feet away. You ask why he's following you, and he shrugs, his eyes on the river. "Someone's got to keep you from drowning in this town's past." He doesn't smile, and you wonder what he knows, what he's not saying. You head back to town, the ring and locket a quiet wait, Henry's footsteps fading behind you. The river's secrets are closer now, their edges sharp, and you feel yourself sinking deeper, drawn to a truth you can't yet name. You walk back to river's end with the ring and locket heavy in your pocket, their weight a constant reminder of the river's hold on you. The sun is sinking now, painting the sky in hues of orange and violet, and the town feels quieter, as if it's bracing for the night. The river's murmur lingers in your ears, a soft call that pulls at your thoughts. You can't shake the image of the woman in blue, her silent presence in the water, or the ledger's cold words about Eliza's fate. You're close to something, you can feel it, but the pieces don't yet fit. You head to the saloon, hoping to find answers or at least a moment to think. The familiar creak of the doors welcomes you, and the room is warm with lamplight and low voices. You spot Henry behind the bar, his mustache twitching as he pours a drink. He nods when he sees you, but his eyes are wary, like he knows you're carrying more than just questions. You take a seat at a corner table, ordering a whiskey to steady your nerves. As you sip, you pull the ring and locket from your pocket, setting them on the table. The silver glints in the dim light, and you study them, turning the ring over in your fingers. It's plain, no engravings, but it feels old, worn by time and water. You wonder if it was Eliza's, maybe a wedding band or something else entirely. The locket's photograph stares back at you, the woman's eyes sharp, almost alive. You're lost in thought when someone clears their throat nearby. It's Sarah, the woman from the general store, her apron dusted with flour. She glances at the locket and ring, her face tightening. "You're still chasing her, aren't you?" she says, her voice low. You nod, asking if she knows anything about the ring. She hesitates, then sits across from you, her hands clasped. "I saw Eliza wear a ring like that," she says. "Not fancy, but she cherished it. Said it was from her mother, like the locket. After she was gone, I thought Thomas took it, same as the locket." You ask why Thomas would take them, and Sarah's eyes darken. "He was possessive," she says. "Didn't like Eliza having anything that wasn't tied to him. If she kept those things hidden, it would have driven him mad." She pauses, glancing at the saloon doors. You found that ring by the river, didn't you? You nod and she leans closer. Then you're closer to her than most. Be careful. The river doesn't give up its treasures lightly. Her words settle over you like dust, and you slip the ring and locket back into your pocket. Sarah leaves, her footsteps soft, and you finish your whiskey, the burn grounding you. You decide to head to the river again, to the bend, to see if the night holds any answers. The streets are empty now, the town wrapped in dusk's quiet embrace. The river glints in the distance, its surface catching the last of the light. You reach the bend, the willows swaying gently, their branches trailing in the water. You stand at the bank, the mud cool under your boots, and listen. The river's murmur is louder tonight, almost a song, and you feel that familiar pull, like the water is calling your name. You touch the locket in your pocket, then the ring, their shapes reassuring. Then you see her. She's there in the shallows, the woman in blue. Her dress clings to her, damp from the water, and her hair falls loose, dark against her pale skin. She's closer this time, her green eyes locked on yours, her expression soft but unreadable. You take a step forward, the water lapping at your boots, and call out, "Eliza?" She doesn't answer, but her lips curve into a faint smile, sad and knowing. She raises her hand again, not to stop you this time, but to point toward the river, where the current slows. You follow her gesture, your eyes scanning the water. Something glints in the shallows, half buried in the mud. You wade in, the cold biting your legs, and reach down. Your fingers close around a small metal box, rusted but intact. You pull it free, the river reluctant to let go. The woman watches, her eyes never leaving you. You want to ask her who she is, what this means, but when you look up, she's gone, the water still and empty. Your heart pounds as you climb back to the bank, the box heavy in your hands. You pry it open, the hinges groaning, and inside is a folded letter, the paper brittle but preserved. You don't read it, not yet. The night feels too alive, the river too close. You slip the box into your coat, the locket and ring pressing against it. You glance at the water, half expecting her to reappear, but the bend is quiet, the willows whispering to themselves. You turn back toward town, the box a new weight, its contents a mystery you're not ready to face. As you walk, you feel eyes on you, not from the river, but from the trees. You pause, your hand near your gun, but no one steps out. Just the night, watching. You keep moving, the town's lights faint in the distance. The river's secrets are piling up, each one heavier than the last, and you know you're running out of time to unravel them. You clutch the rusted metal box as you walk back to river's end, the town's lights flickering like stars against the deepening night. The locket and ring press against your chest, their weight joined by the letter inside the box, its words still unread. The river's murmur follows you, a soft chant that feels both comforting and urgent, as if it's pleading with you to listen. The woman in blue, her sad smile, her pointing hand, she's led you here to this moment, and you know the answers are close, waiting in the fragile paper you carry. You reach the boarding house, the streets silent, the town asleep. In your room, you lock the door and sit at the small table, the lamp casting a warm glow over the box. Your hands tremble slightly as you open it, the hinges creaking, and lift out the letter. The paper is brittle, yellowed by time, but the ink is clear. written in a careful, looping hand. You unfold it, your breath shallow, and begin to read. My dearest mother, it begins, I fear I will not see you again. The words are Eliza's, written to a woman far away. She speaks of love for the river, its beauty, its peace, but also of fear. Thomas has changed, she writes. His anger grows, and I see no kindness left in him. I hide my locket, my ring, where he cannot find them. If I must leave, I will leave them by the river, where I've always felt safe. Your heart aches as you read, her voice alive in the words, her fear sharp and real. The letter continues, describing a night when Thomas's rage boiled over. He thinks I've betrayed him, but I've done nothing but love him. I'm afraid, Mother. If I disappear, look for me where the river bends. The letter ends abruptly, unsigned, as if she was interrupted. You set it down, your hand steady now, the truth settling like a stone in your chest. Eliza didn't run. She didn't drown by accident. Thomas took her from this world, and the river kept her secret. You lean back, the locket and ring heavy in your pocket. The woman in blue, her presence, her guidance, it was Eliza, or some part of her, leading you to this truth. You feel a pang of sorrow, not just for her, but for the town, for the weight of a story buried so long. You wonder if she's still out there, waiting for someone to carry her truth to the light. You step to the window, looking out at the river in the distance, its surface silver under the moon. You know you can't stay silent. You decide to take the letter to Pastor William, to let the town know what happened, to give Eliza's story a voice. But first you need one last moment by the river, to say goodbye, or maybe to understand. You walk through the quiet town, the stars bright overhead. The bend is familiar now, the willows welcoming you like old friends. You stand at the water's edge, the letter in your hand, the locket and ring in your pocket. The river is calm, its murmur soft, like a lullaby. You call out, your voice steady. Eliza, I found it. I know now. The air shifts, cooler, heavier. You see her one last time in the shallows, her blue dress glowing faintly, her green eyes soft with something like peace. She doesn't speak, but her smile is different now, no longer sad, but grateful. She raises her hand not to point, but to wave a gentle farewell. Then she fades, the water rippling where she stood, the river carrying her away. You stand there, the night wrapping around you, the letter a fragile weight in your hand. You know what you have to do. Tomorrow you'll go to the pastor, to Martha, to Sarah, and share Eliza's truth. The town deserves to know, and Eliza deserves to rest. You turn back toward river's end, the river's song quieter now, like it's finally at peace. As you walk, the stars seem brighter, the night softer. You feel lighter, like you've carried something to its end. The river's secrets are yours now, but they're no longer heavy. You've given them a voice, and in doing so, you've set something free. Some stories stay with us long after the words fade. Let this one rest beside you. Sleep deeply, and if it returns in your dreams, perhaps it was never truly gone.